coverage down in Eagan, Minnesota today, where we find our own Kevin Moore, who's live down there with our sports team. Kevin, you talked offense earlier with Alexis Bass. Now we're talking defensive side of football.
Yeah, you're right, Laura. We talked offensive side of the ball with Alexis Bass at 5, and I know you saw her at 5, and honestly, it got hotter. Like, we walked back out here. I think I saw 94 on my phone. It is hot, but that's what comes with football season, as I mentioned yesterday. It's officially here. And I also mentioned yesterday that a lot of Vikings fans will have their eyes on this defense that'll have a new scheme under new defensive coordinator Brian Flores, who we know is an aggressive play caller. But another thing that we know about his defense is that they rely on a lot of versatility, and that's exactly how him and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah built the secondary: young, fast, and versatile, with new corners Byron Murphy and rookie Mekhi Blackman. The ability to play multiple positions inside and out, it will be key in what's shaping up to be a very competitive and hungry cornerback room.
Cornerback, I mean, look, it's going to be a competitive camp. Well, we've got a lot of guys showed well in the spring, have done well in meetings, walked through in our spring practices, and they've come back ready to go. I mean, our first couple meetings and this walkthrough today have been solid. When you're talking about Murph, when you're talking about Caleb, when you're talking about Booth, Mekhi, Joanne, I mean, it's a group. It's going to be a competitive camp. Compete in the meetings, compete in the walkthrough, compete in practice, compete in the preseason games, obviously. And, at the end of the day, I will, sit down with Kwesi and KO and try to put the best group out there.
And someone already inked and penned on the roster, Harrison Smith, who Flores is very grateful he has on his team for his on-field presence and to be an extension of the coaching staff.
Harrison, he is, that veteran presence, that leadership. This is someone who's played a lot of football over the course of his career, been in a lot of situations, and can just be a voice for the younger players because he's been through it. That voice, I think it's very important for us defensively. Plus, he's a very good player. He's made a lot of plays over the course of his career. He's smart. He's tough. He brings leadership. I'm excited to have him and work with him.
And Laura, take it from somebody who has watched a lot of Brian Flores' defenses. The Vikings fans, be very happy you have him as your defensive coordinator. It's going to be a whole new look, aggressive play call. It's going to be fun to watch. But we're not done here, Laura. I just spoke to Zach Ojile and CJ Ham, Duluth's own. I have that coming up at 10. A lot more still to go here down in Eagan. Yeah, we're very excited to see what the Vikings do this season, that's for sure. Kevin Moore joining us live from Vikings training camp. Thank you so much, Kevin.